over 80% of mass shootings in America are carried out by people who bought their guns 100% legally. Okay? Your argument about, well, if guns go away, only bad guys are going to get the guns and we should all be scared about that is crap. It's not these alleged bad guys who are even carrying out the huge majority of mass shootings. It's the good guys. It's the people who are doing these things the right way. They're going through their crappy, pathetic excuse for a background check. They're buying their gun legally. So your argument is invalid about taking away guns means only bad guys will get the guns. The bad guys just happen to be the guys with the guns a lot, whether they bought them legally or not. Now, don't freak out. Not all people with guns are bad guys. That's not the point. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is your argument is stupid when you try to say that if all guns were gone, only bad guys would have the guns. Because criminals, they don't care about the law. There is an endless supply of ridiculous arguments. And that's all we've seen from virtually everybody in the aftermath of what happened in Florida, is more ridiculous arguments, talking points. The only people who are doing things are the damn victims. The high school kids who are organizing marches and walkouts and staging demonstrations in front of the White House. And you know what? 20-somethings, 30-somethings, 40-somethings, my generation, I'm just as guilty. It's time for us to stop being so lazy. It is time for us to stop letting our parents and our grandparents continue to run this country while we sit back and do nothing but tweet or write Facebook posts. Not only do you need to be registered to vote and be voting for the people who will stand up for the lives of our children, how about you run yourself? Start at the city level. I've been trying for almost a week now to get my state representative to have a conversation with me. He won't answer. But I'm not going to stop trying. And you can bet in 2020, because it's too late for me to do it now for 2018, but in 2020, if Dan Newhouse has been reelected as as the representative from my district here in Washington State, I will be running against him. Do I have a shot? Who knows? I'm not a rich guy. I don't have the money to fund my own campaign. But I tell you what I will do. I will be more than willing to debate him on topics like this at any time, in any place, because I'm ready to do that now. I've tried to contact him, been trying to contact him for a week, basically, to say that. I'll do it right now, Dan. Tell me when and where. Or even better yet, tell me you're willing to do it. Tell me you're willing to come to the table to have a conversation. I'll set up the venue. I have connections with that. I'll set up the venue. Give me a list of what you require, Dan Newhouse, and I'll make it happen. And you and I can sit there and have a little discussion about this. 20-something, 30-something, 40-something. Get involved. Get off Facebook. Start demanding real background checks. Stop sitting there doing nothing more than posting Jim Jeffries comedy skits about banning guns altogether or referring only to Australia, because as of right now, that's not going to happen, okay? You can only make progress with baby steps at times. This is a baby step moment, okay? This is a topic that is emotional and can be, we can be talking about constitutional rights in this, so the fabric of our country. So it's not going to be perfect overnight. There's not going to be a legislation or a speech that all of a sudden makes people go, hey, you're right, let's get rid of these things. Let's ban all AR-15s or assault-style rifles. That's not going to happen overnight. So come to the table. Let's baby step. Real background checks, 30-day full background checks, mental evaluations required on any gun purchase. Mentally ill, a terrorist watch list, domestic violence, automatic disqualifiers. You cannot get a gun. I don't care what type. I don't care what your reasons are. You cannot get a gun. Mandatory training classes for anybody who wants to purchase a gun. Registries. Limiting the amount of guns that you can buy. Limiting the amount of ammunition you can buy. You're not willing to come to the table, you don't care. You're okay with the status quo. Man, I hope it's not your kid next. I hope it's not my kid next. I hope it's not any kid next. But it's gonna be until you come to the table. You kids in Florida, you kids all across the country who are finally showing us, giving us the example that it's time to stand up and do anything and everything possible. You keep going. We're going to catch up, I promise. If you don't want to come to the table, that's fine. Then just have the guts to admit that you don't care. Have the guts to admit that somebody who kills a bunch of kids, his right to have that gun is more important than their right to live. And get off your high horse about we need to put armed guards at every single school, at every entrance. We need the teachers with guns. How would you feel if you were a shooter and you saw a sign that said, all our staff is fully armed and trained? I don't want my kids going to a place where the staff is fully armed and trained. I don't want my kids walking into a school with armed guards at every posted everywhere. I don't want that. Why would you possibly want that? That makes no sense whatsoever. It's absolutely insane. It's school. It's where they go to get an education. It's where they go to make friends and learn social interaction. It's where they go to screw up, too. Do you really want a pissed off, armed cop dealing with a bunch of rowdy high school kids? How long until one of them gets shot by the guard? If you feel that you need guns at school, I feel that I need you the hell out of my country. That's what I feel. I feel that you're a sick person. I feel that you get just a little too excited about guns. Armed guards. Listen, I'm not trying to be a braggadocious person here, and nobody knows what would really happen in a situation where you're faced with with a gunman, or a gunman's in your face. Nobody knows until you're in that situation. But I can tell you this: I have taken plenty of training course. I've taken lots of different training, and I know in theory, because that's all it is in theory. Because like I say, when you're in this situation, everything's a little bit different. But I know how to disarm. So somebody comes at me with a handgun, I know. Somebody tries to mug me, I know how to disarm them, how to do certain things to make the situation as safe as possible, okay? You know what I don't know how to do? You know what I can't teach my kids how to do? You know what you can't teach anybody how to do? Dodge a bunch of bullets coming out of an AR-15. Those matrix skills don't really exist in this world. And I get scared every time I see a gun. I don't care if a cop comes up and has their gun, I get nervous. Guns come around and I get nervous. Not because I don't know how to handle anything, certainly not because I'm worried that I'm guilty of anything, but because I know this person has on their body a weapon that was designed to kill people. Okay? What is a gun's purpose? A gun's purpose is to kill people. Or animals, or mammals, if you want to know, it's for hunting. Yeah, it could be for hunting. If I'm going hunting, I'm going to have a rifle to go hunting, yes. Why am I going hunting? Because I have to kill something. A gun's purpose is to kill. You walk into my store, you have a gun on your hip, I'm nervous as all get out. I don't know who you are. I was at a movie theater one time, shortly after the shootings in Colorado. The guy in front of me is there with his kid. Kid's pulling on the guy's shirt. Gun. You know, I see that the guy has a gun in his back waistband. Could have been an off-duty cop. Could have been just a guy with a concealed weapons permit. I don't know. I didn't need to know. All I knew was I was freaked out. And I'm running through a ton of different scenarios in my head about what could this be? Is that the country that you want to live in? That's the country you want to live in. To make sure that everybody has their Second Amendment rights. You know, I didn't want to make a video torching the Second Amendment. But I can. Read it. Read the Second Amendment. It doesn't say you get an AR-15. It doesn't say every single person gets to have a gun. It doesn't say that. It says, a well-armed militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's what it says. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. It is talking about state militias. It is not talking about you, Jim Bob. I'm not making that up. Those are the words. And you know what we can do with the words that were written 200 plus years ago? Take them at face value, because I personally don't have a line to Thomas Jefferson and John Adams and all those cats to figure out, now what exactly were your intentions in these words? I can't have a conversation about them, about the nuances that they might have meant. They might have meant that everybody can just carry guns around and that's your right and that's an American thing. Or they might have meant exactly what the words say, that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. How about that? Constitutionalists, everybody who gets all so worked up about it, oh, it's not constitutional, states' rights, states' rights, states' rights. That's a talking point on the right, just so everybody knows. It is consistently the right who talks so hardcore about states' rights. Well, you know what the Second Amendment is? The Second Amendment is about states' militias to secure your state whether it's Washington, Virginia, Montana, Delaware, whatever it is, to secure your state and to keep the freedoms of your state, a well-regulated militia was needed. In 1781 or 85. Not so much the case anymore, but you want to be a constitutionalist, read the words. Don't go, well, the words say this, but a few years back, the Supreme Court ruled this. How did the Supreme Court back then know? When they changed the literal definition of the Second Amendment to mean that anybody at any time, Americans, you can always have guns. That's what happened. The Supreme Court changed it. They changed the interpretation of the Second Amendment on a whim. Learn some history. Read the words. That's right, I'll torch you on the Second Amendment too. Now, either come to the table or shut your mouth. Start making real decisions and compromises about how we can better improve the safety and security of us, of our kids, of concert goers, or shut your mouth and just admit that you don't care, that you're more obsessed with having your gun on your hip so that you can either go shoot up in the woods or feel like you're John McClane. If you want to be John McClane, I will quote you John McClane. Okay? John McClane, Die Hard. He has a great line, and I'm going to censor the swear word because I don't want to try. I want to try to not swear on these videos. But he says, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. Stop being part of the problem. Come to the table. Help. Show that you care. Show that lives are more important. I hope to talk to you soon, Representative Newhouse.